Hey, now stop me if I'm wrong here, but this is just a little idea. In the Elder Scrolls 6, can we get some character models that don't look like burnt Polly Pockets? Seriously, have you ever noticed that Bethesda has a big tendency to make all their faces look like they're melting off and their animations stiffer than any action figure you ever had as a kid? It's a big problem, and I want to see it fixed in the Elder Scrolls 6, so let's talk about that a little bit. Now, I'm not really going to be harping on Bethesda about this because RPGs are about the RPG experience and not the character model experience per se, although, that being said, I'd like to see a little bit more RPG in my Elder Scrolls as we head into the future here. Bethesda, wink wink, nudge nudge. Give me more choices, I like choices, but among that, I also want to see some really well revamped character models with better animations and ones that look smoother when they're in the game itself, because this has always been a big problem with Bethesda games. Their character models and their dialogue systems and stuff, they always look a little bit jagged. They don't look like they're real people half the time. Go back to Oblivion and go look at any guard without a helmet on. He looks like a frog. Seriously. Frogs everywhere. It's Attack of the Frogs. It's like the sequel to Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, except they're frogs. So in the Elder Scrolls 6, can we get maybe some of the Fallout-style character models? Those look better. Now, those ones don't look perfect either, but they at least have, like, lip-syncing that kind of looks like it might be proper, you know? It kind of looks like it's the right words that they're saying, rather than just mouth-flapping frogs that we have in the current games. Now, Skyrim's were a little bit better, but I always noticed in Skyrim that the character model skeletons, they always looked just a little bit weird, like a little bit off of what a regular person would look like. It looks like they've all got this weird bone structure to them, like a birth defect or something like that. Maybe that's just a thing in medieval Scandinavian areas or whatever, or in fantasy lands and things like that. I don't know, but they just never quite looked human, so again, the ones in Fallout 4, they look a little bit better, and I'd love to see maybe that character model skeleton imported, but overall, I would much prefer them to kind of go in and revamp the entire character models for the base game. Because there's kind of two ways you can go when you're making a fantasy RPG and when you're making the character models. And the two ways you can go with it are to make it realistic or to make it a little bit stylized. And I always felt like the Elder Scrolls series was kind of in the middle between realism and stylistic, artistic choices with the characters that they had. And it makes everything look just a little bit off. I mean, it's not like we can't have deformed characters in our game. Look at a game like, say, Dishonored. That game has very stylized character models in it, but they look really good. They don't look like real people, but they look interesting, you know? They look like something that you find in a cartoon, or maybe like a Pixar movie, or something like that. And I'd be fine if the Elder Scrolls went down a similar route and decided that they wanted to stylize everything a little bit more. Many people might disagree with that, but I think as long as the art style looks really good and looks better than kind of what it is right now, then I'd be, like, super down. I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're going to stick with the realistic scenarios and the realistic-looking everything in the game. But if they do that, I want my people to not look like frogs. I think I'm gonna title the video that. It'll be like, The Elder Scrolls 6, please don't make people look like frogs. I wonder if that'll get more or less views. We're gonna find out. On top of that, let's update some of the animations as well. Let's get separate walking animations depending on maybe what your race is, so that Argonians and Bretons don't walk in the exact same way. That just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense when you really think about it, and I'd love to see a little bit more thrown in effort-wise to get that rolling a bit more. A few extra attack animations would be great as well, maybe some extra running animations and stuff, and ones that don't instantly switch from one to the other. Let's smoothen everything up so everything flows better when you're running around in the game. Because the third-person mode has gotten a lot better, and because of that, we need to make it so that if you want to play it, it's a viable way to play the game without feeling like your character is, like, jigging around and instantly teleporting from looking one way to the other, etc. So yeah, there's my nitpicky little idea for the Elder Scrolls 6. Make people not, you know, frogs and stuff. I don't want frog overlords everywhere. Argonians are enough for me. Argonians aren't related to frogs. That was probably super racist. Anyways, let me know what you think about this. If you have any other ideas for the game, then let me know in the comments. If you want to support me, a couple different ways you can do that. Throw a tip on VidMe or support me on Patreon. $1 goes a super long way. Seriously, consider it. I would love you forever. Probably more than you want. Thanks to all the recent supporters. I love you guys. You're super awesome. I am PattyJack, and I will see you next time. Have a wonderful day.